Welcome to Guelph Fight Wrestler. I am Andrew Sennedra, and this is Captain the Screaming Demon Witch Fingers. And today we are talking about AEW's WrestleDream and our thoughts on that whole show. We were gonna do some highlights, but we realized that that it might have mostly been 2 or 3 matches that we showed a bunch of highlights from. So we kind of skipped it on this one. So you're just gonna have to hear us blabbering on for a bit. So getting into it right off the bat, we're going to go from the main event, down to the beginning of the show. The main event had obviously Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley for the AEW title. We didn't really take many notes on it because we kind of predicted exactly what was going to happen. You got the templated Bryan Danielson, you got the kicks to the chest, the hammer and anvil elbows, his stupid knee. All the typical Bryan Danielson types of things. So the match really played out exactly how we felt. So it was like, what could we really say about this besides like Jon Moxley being rough and taking a few shortcuts, kind of being a little bit of the heel, more so than normal. But I don't know, it wasn't really the most exciting stuff going on.
But I called it. I didn't see Wheeler as the good guy. I saw him turning on him, which he eventually did.
Oh, yeah.
I was like suffocating that bag. I'm like, I saw that.
But he's not. It was almost like he was forced to for some reason. Like he seemed reluctant against doing it. So, I don't know if he's really the bad guy, but
I wasn't sure about the winner. But then I thought maybe they would give Daniels for the belt for a little bit longer, but then I was thinking it wouldn't be bad if Mox won, and turned out Mox actually won.
Yeah, I think this will be a better way to go. At least Mox, I think I think he's more well-rounded. Is like people will be like, oh, Danielson has more moves and does this, but I'm like, I don't know, Mox can fight all kinds of different styles with guys. I feel like Danielson, it's like as much as he can wrestle all kinds of different people, he still lays out the same match pattern, the same moves. So you kind of like, oh man, this is easy to predict. We've seen this for like 20 years.
yeah, this kind of get boring after a while,
And I've never felt he has any personality. He just gets angry in his heart, and and you're kind of like, whatever, I don't fucking care. Moving on to we're not really moving on to Jericho versus Briscoe because that was another match we weren't really terribly interested in. Briscoe was the only one who really did anything. Jericho was like, man, this isn't going over too well.
Yeah, I'm okay if Jericho retires. I don't care for specific. Hey guys, give me.
It was kind of exhausting. I was actually getting pretty tired during that match. I was like, oh, like my neck was getting sore. I was like, God damn you, Jericho, this is going on too long. But yeah, we'll go on to some good matches now. Get our enthusiasm up. We got the Young Bucks versus Private Party, which I kind of liked the pacing of this match because you kind of expect it to be high flying and fast paced right away, there was a little bit, but it was actually kind of slower, and then they kind of actually built up a little bit to all the big moments outside of like the early rampway battle that they had. But I felt like there was a lot of like different sequences that happened that were really cool. There was 3 really good counters kind of in succession between them all. A lot of back and forth in there. A lot of more and more big aerial shots as the match grew on. Like I said, as it kind of picked up and we got bigger, explosive moments and things, more memorable stuff as we built on. So I kind of like that we started off slow and kind of picked up momentum instead of just being like gung-ho all the time.
Yeah, I think this is a good fast-paced match, but a lot back and forth, and that's funny. I noticed Quinn was able to like jump up to do the gin and juice, and now he goes from the top rope to do it instead of getting his armpits up kind of thing. So make it not look as good. The Bucks had some cool moves to do like a TK driver into like a senton at the same time kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And then we weren't sure a couple of times because they're kept kicking out like big moves like the EVPs, but overall I think that the elites we figured they're probably like higher chance of winning.
Oh, but they did do a good job. Like I remember close to the end, I actually thought Private Party was going to win. So I was like, oh, maybe they actually are going to win. So at least that one we kind of were, had on the edge of your seat a little bit, thinking that they were going to do it. But I think Private Party, I thought this was a smart showcase for them, putting them on a pay-per-view for the tag titles like at this point, and seeing where they are. I think like this kind of helps them in the future to maybe push them forward again and see where things go for them.
Yeah, even though they lost, I think it was a good match, like you said, a showcasing where they're like, well, how much can they do?
Yeah,
and, like, they can do pretty well.
What kind of good match? Kind of like New Japan, right? See where you are.
Yeah.
And then they okay, we'll plug you in and see how the fans react to you and stuff like that. Then we're going on to the next match, which was pretty brutal for the most part. Brody King versus Darby Allin. Brody King kind of like for the first 5 to 10 minutes or so beat the piss out of Darby Allin. Like. Yeah. So I kind of don't like the Brody King loss because he was beating him up so badly. It's like, I almost think it would have been more impactful if it was a squash match. It would have been really caught everybody by surprise and really believable because Brody King is, massive and destructive, like Brody Lee when he beat Cody for the TNT title all those years ago. That took everybody by surprise, but it still sticks with me to today. Right, and I think that would have been good, and it's believable, and it doesn't hurt Darby. Like, he's always going to come back. So I just thought that might have been really cool. It's just, so many destructive moments and shots from Brody King. Not double German, but like he did 2 Germans from the turnbuckles that were brutal. The second one was worse. I thought he like KO'd himself on that coming down.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. He like throwing Darby like a wet piece of banana, like toss it here, toss him there, kind of thing. He's going flying. Like, I thought that would be cool if it was a squash match, but I don't see it happening because like Darby is too high, and then like the other guy, he even though he's a monster, he's like kind of like down further on the food chain, kind of, so to speak, like on the tier list kind of thing. So I'm like, I didn't see it happening, but I thought it'd be super cool, but it didn't happen.
But it would have been good, and it would have built another person up. I think they missed kind of an opportunity there to give Brody King a shot in the arm and maybe move him into some more singles stuff for a little bit while Malachi and Buddy Matthews do some tag stuff. Like, the guys can always kind of move, come and go, like through the factions a little bit, and then they reunite. It adds a little bit of flavor, so it's not just the trios constantly.
Yeah. There's some nasty spills like over the steel steps, like when Brody went flying, he's like smash.
Yeah, there's a lot of heavy moments, a lot of stuff that would really quite damaging to your body. Moving on to another match, which kind of was last minute, Hologram versus the Beast Mortos. This was kind of cool last minute thing that was plugged in there, and it just ended up being one of the best matches on the card. Not a super fast pace, I think, for the most part, even though there were a lot of moments, but there was just a lot of cool, exciting moments, a lot of stuff that these two guys tried out. And there, the great big crucifix bomb to get the first pin for Hologram, which was it was a 2 out of 3 falls, which was, I thought that was a huge moment. I thought that was really good for Hologram. Good way to get him that pin over a big beastly dude, but like Beast Mortos. The apron poison Rana, Hologram caught his own head on the way down. He's like, kunk, and then pulling him over. He's like, whoa! Like that was a 2-banger for both guys on that one. Pretty gnarly landing for both guys. Then you had a Shingo Takagi style power clothesline from Beast Mortos, just laying out Hologram a couple of times with some heavy clotheslines.
Yeah, this is a really good match. Taurus has some like nasty backbreaker. He's like crushing him over his knee, and I think Hologram had like a really cool spinning into a head scissor kind of thing. I think we go flying. Like,
the one coming off the turn. Yeah, the one coming. Yeah, you're right. There was a lot of big moments. I liked all the backbreakers, like Roderick Strong said, where you practice backbreakers and stuff like that. Or we're teaching them how to take backbreakers and gotta toughen up that back. But I really liked what Beast Mortos did in this match. Laid in a lot of heavy offense, like you said, the backbreakers, the clothesline. He really did a lot. It was a really good match. I kind of wanted Beast Mortos to win, but just because I thought it would have been a good moment for him. But clearly they're pushing Hologram more and more with his undefeated streak. I think it's 14 or 15-0 now. So pretty good job for him going down. We're moving on to the future, see what he does.
I think Taurus, I thought maybe he would have won because he just joined the faction, make him,
LFI.
make him, the evil standard, but no.
Then we're moving on to another great match. I think we skipped a couple in there because the way my notes go. But we got Ospreay versus Ricochet versus Takeshita, and our most anticipated match that we were excited for the what was that international title? The belts changed names. Yeah. Well, yeah, this was really awesome. There was just so many moments. This was the one we were going to film a lot of highlights of. We could have probably got a dozen off this match. Really fast sequence between all three guys to really open the match, which was just like you were mentioning, like, oh, what if some guy's knee goes out? Sequence is going to be. But it was just wow. They really worked in a nice cohesive movement there between everybody, especially Ospreay and Ricochet with so much history between the two guys. Konosuke had some just devastating shots. He was laying the world-class elbows. Those were so stiff. There was the one that Ospreay kind of dodged coming off the top rope, and he just lays into him. One I was like, holy crap. You got the brutal apron sequence with the Death Valley Driver on Ospreay, and then it was on Ospreay, and then the Meteora, I think, was from Ricochet on the Takeshita. I think that was the way it was. But anyways, that was a really good one. Takeshita goes ham with his big German suplexes. So he did the one where they grabbed each other, the Blue Thunder Bomb, more world-class elbows. He was just tearing it up. I like that Takeshita can go fast and do more aerial stuff, especially younger, which we might do a video on his Japan days, so you'll get to see that. But I like that he kind of took away from that and became the power guy for this match, and let Ricochet and Ospreay do the other stuff.
Yeah, it's weird. Usually when people do simple strikes, I don't really care. But when Takeshita does those elbows, they look mean. They look nasty. He used it so many times, but each time it still sounds eventful or interesting. Where you see the sound of flash and
the one on Ricochet, I said it sounded like he nailed him right in the jaw. It felt stiff, but I know what you mean. He makes them feel really believable, which I'm sure they are. We tried, slapping ourselves. They clearly, you can feel it through your shirt. You can feel it in your body. So these shots are definitely real.
Yeah, then Takeshita, gets pissed off. He tries to kill Ricochet. Gives him that driver on the table. Ricochet's done for.
Oh yeah.
And then they get in the ring, and then Kyle Fletcher comes out. He turns on. I totally foresaw that. He didn't seem the same old Kyle Fletcher. He looked like he's slowly getting brainwashed by that demented old man kind of thing. Right?
with the big gash on his head, it doesn't seem to fade for some reason. That weird scar, but. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of didn't want Kyle Fletcher to turn on Ospreay, but just because it was predictable. It's kind of what everybody does. I thought it would have been better if Will created his own United Empire in AEW when Mark Davis came back. He'd at least have 3 guys, and since Cobb has kind of jumped back and forth, you could use Cobb once in a while in the Western version of United Empire. So I just kind of thought that might have been better. So we'll have to see how all this plays out.
I kind of saw it from both ways. I saw your way, but then I'm that's already been done before in New Japan. They were a team, right? So I think maybe they want to create a new faction. So making it split and making it different this time around or something.
Yeah, but he's still United Empire, and they have that working relationship with New Japan. We got Bullet Club Gold, so it should be able to cross oceans factions, right? Speaking about Bullet Club Gold, we're moving on to the opening match of the night, which was a really good, smart idea. I thought Jay White versus Hangman Adam Page got a lot of heat between each other. They slapped each other a lot. You could feel the slapping. Yeah. I could see Jay White's chest getting up. Pretty hard hitting match. I felt it was a good pacing. It was slow paced, but it was hard hitting, kind of like an old school Japanese match with some devastating moments. You had the knee breaker on the rampway that sounded like it was going to blow Hangman's knee out. You had the really high impact Uranagi, which killed Adam Cole once upon a time, and the really high angle sleeper suplex that Hangman took on his neck. Jay White was pulling out a lot of his heavy hitting moves. I like the way he set up a lot of stuff too, the way he was positioned in the ring, just setting himself up for things, especially at the end. You knew he was going to be countering the buckshot lariat with the switchblade or the Blade Runner. So I just thought it was really a precise match.
I like the setup for that. He smashed his knee, almost broke his knee. And then, in there, I think you mentioned, give him a good Luger, you know, like could spit all over, all over.
That was a huge Luger. Jay White's always frothy at the mouth, so when he spits, he's all in his beard. You're like, oh man, him and his Lugers.
Yeah, Cowboy also gave like a nasty power bomb in there. I think it was a good opening match for, you know, it's hard hitting, you know, set the pace.
Yeah, it wasn't like high flying and stuff, but I felt like they did a good job of like, you know, storytelling, which everybody likes. You know, Jay White's getting beat up, but then he lands that huge knee breaker on the ramp, which kind of changes the whole match, kind of like a head kick in a fight. The guy's all wobbly, and then it prevents Hangman to really like line up for the buckshot lariat, which affected him throughout the whole match. So I thought they actually did a good job of like laying out a story and making one move kind of change the whole way of the match. And change things for Hangman. So I was like, this is smart. This is a good way to do it. Kind of an old New Japan way of doing it.
I think they also like did a good job of turning Hangman from a good guy to a heel. Cause like at the end, you can hear the fans like roar or erupt when they see like Switchblade doing his finisher kind of thing. Cause like they hate him, man. They want to lose.
Yeah, they used to hate Jay White and love Hangman, and now it seems to be like switched around a bit, you know, especially when Jay White came back. So he even said that on the mic. He used to boo me, you stupid. Yeah, I like the way they're doing things right now with those guys, and it'll be interesting to see where Jay White goes from here, and Hangman. See what kind of lunacy he goes on to. Yeah, we certainly missed a few matches. The Jack Perry versus Shibata was okay. It wasn't really, that kind of seemed out of nowhere for the last bit, but
yeah.
These are our thoughts on, you know, some really good matches in there. There was a couple of ones that, you know, were a little, you know, tiring, but ultimately, let's see. Let's do our ranking. We got good, great, awesome, amazing, spectacular, and fantastic. Where do you got this one ranked?
I say maybe amazing. Like I didn't like all the matches, but there's a lot of matches I did really enjoy. So I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, I could see that. I think I'm gonna go with amazing too, because the Beast Mortos and Hologram, I think, boosted that one up because it was last minute, but that was a really fun, exciting match. You know, I think if it wasn't for that one, we might have pulled it back a bit. But Hangman, Jay White was really solid.
Yeah.
The tag match with the Young Bucks was a good one. And there was obviously the trio or the triple threat match with those three dudes was absolutely a killer match. So I could see that one really. Yeah, I'm gonna go. We're both gonna go with amazing for WrestleDream. Maybe not quite as good as last year, but definitely up there quite a bit, I think. Let us know your thoughts on WrestleDream, which matches you liked or didn't like. You know, was some of these performances overrated, all that type of stuff, or, you know, were our thoughts on it overrated? Let us know down in the comments below, and until next time, folks, have some heavy wrestling.